Hello everybody, welcome to today's webcast. My name is Jim Patterson and I'm in a business development role with Wickersoft. Joining me today is Matthew Willey. He's Wickersoft's product guru and technology expert. We'll be telling you more about our company and our offerings later in the presentation. But today's topic is moving your PMO to the cloud, why you can't afford to miss the wave. In it, we'll be discussing the common challenges of today's PMOs and the business value of moving your PMO to the cloud. We will also show examples of how Microsoft and Wickersoft technology can address these challenges via live solution demonstration as part of this webinar. Before we get started, we have a few quick logistics to go over with you. First off, we will not open the line for questions. All lines will be muted during the webinar. However, we will answer questions that are captured in the chat and question panel throughout today's presentation should you have any. You can also feel free to email us directly and we'll be happy to answer your questions as well. We'll be giving you our contact information as well at the end of the presentation. Also, if for some reason you get distracted or pulled away during the webinar, no need to worry. We will be distributing the recording of today's presentation to all registrants following the webinar. So with that, let's get started with today's presentation, moving your PMO to the cloud, why you can't afford to miss the wave. So from an agenda perspective, we're looking at covering these topics. We'll discuss PMO challenges, we'll discuss the PMO evolution, also PMO capabilities required for success. Then we'll really transition into the concept of the digital PMO and its benefits, and then focus the majority of our time on a PMO digital workplace demonstration to show you these things in action. So let's start with a cartoon. I really like this cartoon. Many of the challenges I'm going to touch on today directly relate to one challenge in particular. PMOs often fail to understand its responsibilities to the project as well as the project's purpose. And understanding scope and requirements is completely different than understanding why the project is being initiated in the first place. If the project's end result fails to add value, then the PMO has failed the organization as a whole. Another common challenge is that inadequate staff or resources and a lack of executive buy-in. The right resources on the job have everything to do with project success. The reasoning behind the challenge, somebody wants it now. If you weigh the amount of time, effort, and cost you could accumulate in rework due to misaligned resource assignments, you'll probably find that postponing the project until you have the right support will not only get you delivery sooner, but will also save your organization a lot of expenses in the long run. Sometimes it seems a little counterintuitive. Many PMOs focus purely on reporting project performance and in many cases delegate deciding what needs to be done to senior management. PMOs have to remember to adequately support upper management with analysis and recommendations, remembering that they are the experts when it comes to the projects. Also, running projects requires competent project leaders. Many PMOs are challenged with ensuring the development of these skills appropriately within the organization. Project manager training and development is crucial to a project's success. Also, failure to support multiple stakeholders is one of the key reasons that organizations fail to move beyond level 2 maturity in PPM. Defining all the stakeholders up front and ensuring all of their requirements and needs are considered is the only way to avoid scope creep, rework, and even doomed projects. As soon as you introduce another person into the mix, you have an entirely different ballgame most of the time. Overall, the PPM maturity of the organization may also be at a level that is unable to effectively support the management of projects, programs, and portfolios. Resources are required to get work done, and those resources are necessarily need to be there to successfully track initiatives. Now, it is more common for technology and tools to be simple, but over the years, that hasn't necessarily been the case. Everyone in the organization must have a shared understanding of projects, and they must be able to use the technology successfully in order for PMOs to have the right information in order to make them the right decisions. Centralizing all project managers in the PMO often turns the PMO into a big, expensive overhead function. Proving value is key for PMOs, and in many cases, distributed project managers across the organization residing in various teams, yet following common standards and governance of the PMO can be a more successful model. And finally, the PMO's reporting line, or where it sits in the organization, may hinder its scope of influence and its ability to affect change. Hence, what is its charter? PMOs need the right support and authority in order to be able to influence change appropriately within the organization. With all the challenges that we just discussed, there's one constant that affects all of them: change. We know that technology has played a critical role in how businesses are run today. We've essentially all become technology companies. We come from a past where technology progression was slower. We had time to think about our plans, make adjustments, and in the rare case that priorities shifted and move forward with minimal impact. Today we are faced with continuous change, unpredictability, and rapidly changing environments. We have to be agile and react quickly to these shifts or we'll simply get left behind. Constant change has become the new normal, but it has become one of the biggest challenges for the PMOs. The ability to accommodate these continuous changes is one of the biggest benefits of a digital PMO. We'll talk more about that here shortly. So let's look at just a little bit at the evolution of the PMO and some of the lessons learned that have come from its progression. You might remember the days when the PMO's main job was to develop enough process to force structure and compliance so that projects were repeatable and predictable. Well, we just talked about change, being the new norm, which has played a big role in moving process to the back seat. One size no longer fits all, so although some process is good, the processes have to be flexible enough to respond quickly to change. Mistaking consistent process for reliable results is a common mistake that's often made today. Also, confusing delivery of IT with delivering value is another. If you are running a hardware or software project, delivering the end product isn't enough. That product has to deliver value to the organization for the project to be considered a success. Also, ignoring resource capacity is still common today and has a big impact on project delivery. You can't create something from nothing, and you can't deliver a project without the right resources to do the work. It is a major constraint, and you should be considered a sizable risk should you be asked to move forward with a project while ignoring your resource limitations. Dependencies are also constraints. Many times there are projects going on across multiple departments that are linked together in some form or fashion. Ignoring the dependencies and running the projects independently of each other without visibility in different systems can lead to much bigger problems down the road. If IT is working on the hardware initiative for the next software release and the PMO is driving the software schedule, there's going to be a point where these two projects must be coordinated together. Failure to create a bottom-up program considering all dependencies is a lesson that has been documented too often across PMOs. No one wants to deal with a troubled project, but similar to a poorly behaved child, if your attention isn't directed to a solution, things can get out of hand pretty quickly. You can pretty much bet that ignorance will lead to high costs, bloated timelines, and a much bigger impact to the bottom line. Another consideration is that failure to speak the language of business is a big one. You must work towards common goals. Understanding the business and their needs is the only way to deliver projects successfully. And finally, expecting software alone to solve the problem is not an option. Software is intended to give your workforce the tools they need to be more productive. However, your people are the ones who hold the innovation, creativity, and power to make things happen and empower change. Making sure you have the perfect mix of people, process, and technology is the key to maximizing productivity, and connection is the key. I didn't have this topic on our agenda, but I wanted to briefly touch on it for many reasons why organizations set up PMOs in the first place. A study was done a few years back by PMI and Forrester, and they asked various PMO leaders what the primary focus was for their PMOs. As you can see, it varies. The P in PMO can mean many things: portfolio, project, program, or even a combination of them all. Make sure your organization knows what your PMO's purpose is, and expectations are hard to manage when no one knows what to expect in a solid basis. All right, let's touch on some of the core capabilities executed by a PMO. And you'll notice on the left side of the blocks, you'll see the common capabilities that have been around for many years. Resource management, managing schedules, costs, team collaboration, etc. But over the years, PMOs have evolved and project management has progressed, and additional capabilities have been thrown into the mix. We've talked about change many times this morning already, and here it is again. A tool must be agile, It must be able to accommodate constant change and shifts in your project environments. Work management is another one. You can't appropriately plan and manage your resources or if you aren't including or considering all the work that impacts them, not just the project tasks that may be assigned to them. So that leads to integration, which is a touchy subject. It sounds like a big word, and many organizations would rather keep systems segregated to avoid integration, but the reality is many times it's necessary and even desirable. And even more often, there's a solution available that makes integration simple. Productivity will always be limited if people have to go to multiple systems to find information, or even worse, enter data in multiple locations. Technology has come a long way, and many times what seems difficult is simply not difficult anymore. In fact, simplicity is next on the list. If there's no reason to accept complicated systems any longer. Many times technology is complex, but that doesn't mean that the user experience has to be. User adoption is key for a successful PMO, and moving to a digital PMO can bring many benefits, but one of the most noticeable is the simplified user experience. The way I like to explain automation is this. Figure you have 10 employees. Each one of them takes 2 hours completing their timesheet every week along with providing project status. That's 20 hours a week amongst those 10 employees. Now let's say you automate one process, saving the same resource 1 hour per week. That's a savings of 10 hours per week. 10 hours a week times their hourly rate, and can mean significant savings per month. Let's say they're making $30 an hour, and that now equals $1,200 in savings per month for just 10 resources. Now, how much will the solution cost that will help you with this automation? Most likely it's way less than you just saved. Automating all of these processes is a key capability, and you don't want to ignore it. All right, let's talk about the benefit side of this. Let's look at a few of them that you would receive by moving your PMO to a cloud-based solution. We already know that your project environments will be ever-changing, and moving to the cloud will ensure that you are able to make decisions quickly in an environment that's always up to date with the latest technology and with the most current information from across your organization. How many times have you managed an entire project for a software update just to find out that 2 weeks later another patch is needed? Environments change, period. An online PMO can help you respond quickly and favorably to these changes. On the scalability side, there are many ways an online PMO can scale, adjusting user count, adding functionality that will be built on the latest technology. How many times have you added a customization and then heard that your system is no longer supported because you built it on a version that is out of date? Connecting various user groups as the system is leveraged by more and more teams. Scaling is faster and an easier process with an online PMO in a consistent cloud environment. Also, there's lower cost of ownership. You can get up and running with an online PMO with little or no upfront cost, as well as lower costs across the board for your long-term investment. PMOs can gain from the cloud by reducing unnecessary overhead costs, such as investments in infrastructure and maintaining them. An online PMO can also allow for better governance and control as well. Adding process, workflows, and other structure to your environment is simple and instant, so changes will affect users across the board right away. As we develop new challenges with everyday work, there is always an urgency to resolve issues right away. A digital PMO allows you to implement solutions quickly while there is good momentum. Oftentimes, taking action now keeps the momentum going and delivers much faster results. So instead of worrying about infrastructure, software updates, and your PMO environment in general, you can focus your time and efforts on delivering projects and business value while your PMO environment is automatically updated in the background without impacting your resources or your timeline. There are many ways to collaborate, as we all know. The more options we have, the more collaboration takes place. With a digital PMO, team members can have many more options for collaborating, including online comments, social streams, groups, etc. The more people connect, the more productive we are. It's just that simple. And flexibility is the key. A digital PMO is available on any of your devices, not just your desktop. It can be accessed from anywhere, so you can work wherever and whenever you choose. Wickersoft's digital PMO also allows you access to other apps, allowing you to add other functionality to your environment without the need for development or a separate system or tools altogether. And lastly, competitive advantage. You never have to worry whether or not you're staying on top of the competition. You can ensure that the newest, most cutting-edge technology is at your fingertips and available to you if you're in a cloud environment. So if we look at Microsoft's offering of Project Online in the cloud, it is really designed to be an end-to-end project and portfolio management solution to serve the needs of the PMO. That means from early on, from ideation, all the way through demand management, portfolio selection and optimization, all the things you would do to execute your projects, and then all the reporting and analytics you would need throughout. This is really designed to be an end-to-end solution that meets all of those requirements. In the cloud, Microsoft is now providing this as a service where they take care of all of the infrastructure, redundant data centers with all of the failover and reliability that you're looking for, as well as SLAs that guarantee more than 99.9% uptime when the actuals are actually much higher than that. Also, from a compliance perspective, all of the certifications and auditing that needs to be done for these data centers is there to meet the most needs of any industry that's out there today. And the other cool thing that's available here is the context of Office 365 that many people are moving through for their business productivity tools. Project Online actually becomes part of your Office 365 experience, and you actually get to use the tools in Office 365 for collaboration and business productivity tools within the context of your project and portfolio management process. So once again, having that unified experience without separate, disparate, disconnected tools is something that is very valuable. And to that end, Wickersoft provides Project Connect, which is a platform that really makes Project Online the center of the universe from a project and portfolio hub of information. Project Connect really allows a cloud-based productized set of connectors that will actually connect your agile tools for software development, things like Visual Studio or Jira, your financial systems like Oracle or SAP, your lighter weight planning tools like SharePoint, Wunderlist, Office 365 Planner, your ITSM tools or service management tools like ServiceNow, Microsoft Dynamics, or Service Cloud. The idea here is that you can execute potentially in a variety of different tool sets, but still have common focus in your portfolio management and your PMO visibility and reporting up the chain to leadership. And we'll talk about this lightly a little bit today, but this is really the integration piece made easy in a productized way without having to build one-off custom connectors. So with that, let's transition to a demonstration of some of these concepts using the technology and the solutions that we've alluded to here so far in the presentation. And with that, Matthew will take you through a demonstration of Project Online and the PMO Digital Workplace.
Perfect. Thank you, Jim. All right. So I'm logged in here into Office 365, and you can see if I hit my waffle, I have lots of different apps and capabilities available to me, things like OneDrive and Power BI for reporting, and Delve for searching across all this great content, so on and so forth. So really at my fingertips, the one place that I go into work is my Office 365 area, right? From there, we can connect to other applications as necessary, like Jim said, and I will show some of that as we go through the remainder of the demo. But where I'm at right now is I'm at my PMO Digital Workplace homepage. So this is what the PMO can set up as the front of the PMO to the rest of the organization, or to just the people within the PMO, depending on who your user bases are and who you're trying to give this information to. So if I come in, I can see things like a stream for my PMO of all the new announcements, maybe new processes we're putting in place, or new trainings that are available, or whatever it might be, things that we're making available to people so that these projects can be managed better is really what it comes down to. Over on the right, then I have some quick and easy links to make it really nice and easy for people to come in and get the information they need. If I'm looking for one of those training videos, here they are right here. I can click on that and get into that. I can go into the PM University and access all different types of materials that are going to help me out, and any different documents around best practices, policies, templates, and so on and so forth, right? From here, though, I can also link directly into Project Online, and I can start actually going and working on my projects if, say, I am the project manager, for example, or the PMO manager, portfolio manager, whatever my role may be. So when I click on that, it takes me now into Project Online, and I can start to get visibility into what's going on and dive as deep into these things as needed. So right now what I'm looking at is I can see a list of all of the different projects that we have going on right now. So this is my one place to go to see all of our different projects, right? I have some KPIs on those projects like overall health, schedule health, issue health, work health, cost health. And this is all configurable, so whatever KPIs your PMO and your business is looking to track, we can set that up so that we have the right things showing here in these different views and or reports that you'll see in a little bit as well. So this is my one source of truth, right? It makes it so instead of having different project schedules all over the place, and some people are using Excel and some people aren't using anything and just sending emails and whatever it might be, it makes it really hard not only to even understand what's going on, but better yet, get status of what is going on and understand how we're doing and put in some accountability and some governance around these things as well, right? So from here, I can dive into one of these particular projects, like my social networking integration project. And right at my fingertips is all of the latest information. So I can see where we are in the workflow status for this particular project. We're still waiting for budget approval. This is a very new requested project that hasn't worked its way through the process yet. As we go through the process, we're going to go through multiple different stages from initiating to planning to executing. This is kind of a standard traditional type workflow. But again, this is configurable, and most things in the system are. So this could go through whatever stages and phases that you want it to go through and help put in some of that governance and give you visibility into where things are at, who we're waiting on for approval, or what happened, what's going on, so we can make sure that we're getting these things through efficiently, but also making sure we're pushing the right things through and not everything's just going and falling through the cracks, right? Right at my fingertips, I have access to the project schedule right through my web browser here. I can come in, see the high-level schedule, drill into the details as necessary, make any updates if I'm the particular project manager, do so very quickly, very easily at the source of information and not have to send files to other people and upload things to different places. As I make those updates, they're instantly available within all of the different reports and all the views and such that people are going to be going and getting this visibility from. So it really brings it all together and connects it into one place. If I wanted to open this up in Microsoft Project, I absolutely can. I can say open in Microsoft Project. I could manage and make my updates to my schedule there, and then when I save and publish, that pushes back into Project Online. So again, everything's still all here together within one place. I have my one portfolio view or multiple views of all of these particular projects, right? From an integration perspective, maybe we have agile projects. So some of these projects are not waterfall projects, they're actually agile projects. And if you come over here, you can see my different project types. Some are waterfall, being managed in more of a PMBOK way. Some of them are actually agile projects being managed in a more iterative or Scrum type fashion possibly. There's all different types of projects that we're managing, and we can open those up and manage them actually in other tools. So I could select like one of my projects here, and instead of opening it in Microsoft Project, I might open it up in TFS, or VSTS is the cloud version of what was formerly Team Foundation Server. It's now called Visual Studio Team Services. You could open it up in Jira if you were using that through many of the different integrations that Jim had mentioned in some of those slides earlier. Also, even within Office 365, there are other capabilities like the Office 365 Planner is really a great way to be able to go in and create really lightweight task lists and then use Kanban boards to update the status. Keeps things light and easy to provide the status. So I simply come here and select my project, and I'll actually open this one up. And that will take me right into the Office 365 Planner for that particular project. I can simply come in, just load in a nice, quick, easy task list, assign resources to these different tasks like Daniel Williams and Adam, and things are as easy as just drag and drop of pictures, and there's lots of cool ways to do that. And then to update the status, I just drag and drop it from not started to in progress to completed, and all of that information flows back into Project Online. So regardless of what tool you're using to actually execute on that work, depending on the type of work, it might lend itself better to the other things. If it's Agile development, you might want to use an Agile development tool. But we can still bring that all back into one place and get that full view of all the projects and all of the status so that we don't have to try to do manual processes of manually exporting data out of multiple systems and trying to caress things together in Excel and spending lots and lots of time to try to put together manual reports just so we can give that status up to management, when those people could be spending their time doing more productive things and helping, making it more efficient, saving that cost as Jim was talking about earlier. Not just from a status perspective, though, is this important. There are multiple other things here. For example, from a resource management perspective, in many organizations, asking the question of who is working on what, who has availability for more work, who is over-allocated and has too much work, is a difficult question to answer. There are many different spreadsheets and there are emails that fly around, and people have to go do a lot of manual tracking people down and figuring out what's going on. Whereas here, if I come in, let's say I'm in charge of all the business analysts, I can come in and go into my capacity planning view, and because all of the work is flowing into here from these other systems, and some of it may be managed actually in here as well, we have it all together in one place. We can even bring operational work into the mix, things like help desks work that you might be working on. You can see Lisa's working on the help desk here. And we can very quickly see who's over allocated, the people that are in red. If they're being utilized properly, then they're in green, meaning they're not too far over or under allocated. And if they have blue here, that means they have availability within that particular time period. So we can start to get those better views and better understanding of what's going on. There's lots of other different views and reports and all kinds of things. But by bringing it together, we can get that. Also, from a time management perspective, let's say I was tracking time over in Jira, and that time then flows back into Project Online. At the end of the week, when I come in to fill out my timesheet, 95% of it's already filled out because I had already put that in Jira. Instead of making them put it in Jira and then have to come over here into the timesheet system, so to say, and have to put it in again, we all know how hard it is to get people to put in their time once, let alone twice. And then once I get here, if all my time is already here, I just need to then maybe add in some other things that might not be in Jira, maybe waterfall project work that I might be working on, operational work I might be working on, admin, sick time, vacation, those types of things. Put in anything else I need to, save and submit, and then all the time then flows through the same systems, and we can understand where the effort is going, where are people spending their time, again, without having to try to go across multiple different systems or make people enter their time in multiple places, right? Really bringing that whole world together into one digital PMO. So, as a team member, one of the biggest problems I have is I never know what I'm supposed to be working on. I have working on multiple different projects and being pulled in lots of different directions, and what's highest priority and what should I really be doing. And we can allow you to have things like the My Work view in here. So as a team member, I see all the work that I'm supposed to be working on, when I'm supposed to be starting and finishing on it. And if I have any problems with that, I can reach out to the right project managers and such and start communicating and collaborating and getting that all going. And on that note, there's lots of collaboration features built into Project Online and Office 365 in general. For example, if I jump into one of my projects here, like my VoIP phones project, I'm going to jump down into my project sites. And within my project site, people can communicate and collaborate. We can even co-author documents together. So if you're familiar with that, two people could be working on, say, the same Word or Excel document at the same time over the internet, right through your web browser. And you can see the other person's changes being made, and you could be talking to them over Skype for Business. And it really all ties together. Project Online ties into Office 365 in lots of ways. But for example, if I hover over Daniel Williams right here, then it actually allows me to then be able to send him an email, or I could send him a Skype for Business right from there with the different options that it brings up. And you can reply back to things and it's all very collaborative and social and so on and so forth right here from within your project. So, as all of that's going on, project managers are updating status, portfolio managers, executives, etc., are getting visibility into the resources and the project status and so on and so forth. Then Power BI, another Office 365 app, Microsoft's latest, and I would say best reporting app ever, to be quite frank, allows you to build some really robust reports and dashboards that you can then allow people to get a little bit more analytical in with all of this great data that we have from the projects and the information that we're managing there, right? So, for example, let's say I have a connected world. I have both Agile and Waterfall projects. and let's say I'm the manager of a portfolio of projects, and some of them are Agile, some of them are waterfall, some are hybrid. I don't want to have to go to the Agile tool for the Agile ones, into Project Online to see the status of the project ones, and then when I want to see resource load across all of it, manually have to try to mush data together. I just want it all to come to me in one particular dashboard, right? And so that's what I'm looking at right here. This particular dashboard on the left-hand side shows more traditional waterfall types of visualizations, things like portfolio cost, risk, ROI, and such, and bubble charts of risk versus ROI and project status with KPI indicators and such. But what I'm actually looking at over here on the left isn't just our waterfall projects, it's all of our projects. Because we're bringing them all together in Project Online and doing some mappings to compare apples to apples, we can then show these types of things across all of our projects without having to manually mush data together or try to go to multiple different systems to see different sets of reports, right? On the right-hand side, though, I can also do more traditional Agile types of visualizations, things like sprint burn downs and burn-ups, bug trends over time, cumulative flow diagrams, et cetera, and bring this all together into one dashboard. If I want more details than just this high-level dashboard, I can then click on any one of these visuals here, and I can come in and start to get more information. For example, I just clicked on my project status visual. I can now come in and see all the different projects that are going on across the different portfolios, at least of the ones that I have access to. And I can see, okay, 3 of our projects are at risk, 14 are over budget, 16 are behind schedule, so on and so forth. So we have some problems going on here, and I want to drill down into that and really get a better picture of what's going on. I can. So for example, I might come here and use my filters and say, I only want to see projects where overall health is either red or yellow, my problem projects, right? Or I could focus this down to just one particular portfolio, just my cut cost portfolio, and just look at that grouping of projects, or a specific program, or whatever it is I might want. Once I've filtered that down and I'm just looking at the projects I want to look at, then I can get into all the different details and all the different types of status right from here as well. So if I click on my schedule tab, I'm now looking at the same set of projects and work, but I'm seeing more schedule-related information like duration variances, how far am I off from what I expected to be or what I had planned to be, how many overdue milestones do I have, and things like that, right? I can get into Gantt roadmap views, I can get into cost informations, budgets versus actuals, even show time phase data, cost over time. So this is showing budget versus actual cost by quarter. And then many, if not most of these, are drill-in capable. So for example, if I click on Q4, I can actually drill in and then see October, November, December. If you're tracking down to an even more detailed level, I can drill in again and see that by day if I chose to do so. So the really cool thing is, if I'm a high-level executive, I just want the overview of what's going on, maybe even just a specific set of our key projects, and understand the high-level status, and then be able to drill in if I want to. I absolutely can. If I want to get all the way down into costs by day, I can do so with just a couple clicks, right? So it allows me to really get into the details or stay at a high level if I choose to do so. And you can even then get down into specific risks and issues for those projects. And everything here is all connected together within the report. So for example, if I click on the high priority part of this issues pie chart here, it will then filter down and just show me the high priority issues down here below. So you can really drill in and get down to what you want really quickly is the point. So by digitizing your PMO, bringing it all together in one place and connecting to other solutions as necessary, or as it makes sense and it provides value, I should say, we can then start to do these types of reports and these views, and they're automatically generated. They always have the latest data. You can always get visibility into what's going on, make better decisions, and save people's time of doing manual processes while still giving the business what it needs to put the right governance in place around what's going on. So hopefully you can see how you can really tie it all together, and that was just one example. We can show resource management reports, we can show financial reports, timesheet reports, so on and so forth, combined of all of this different projects and work that's going on, and operational work as well and such, and bring it together all into one place and get that to people and put it at their fingertips. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to Jim. He has just a couple more closing slides for you guys, and then we'll let you go for the day. There you go, Jim.
Terrific. Thank you, Matthew. Hopefully you guys all saw some good capabilities there, and I think in the message of moving this all to the cloud, what you'll find is that being able to provide those capabilities is simply a matter these days of providing a username, a password, and a browser to a user, and subscribing to that cloud environment instead of setting up infrastructure and managing that all internally. So all this stuff is readily available not only across your organization, but geographically dispersed folks across the world. And with that, just want to talk to you a little bit about who Wickersoft is. We were actually founded as a joint venture with Microsoft back in 2002. We are a triple Microsoft certified partner with our primary DNA being project and portfolio management, really extending that into overall work management as Matthew demonstrated to you. We do have a global footprint with offices all across the U.S., and we really focus on consulting, business process outsourcing, managed services, and even global support and staff augmentation for organizations that need it. We're a substantial company. We have a good footprint to support you anywhere you're located, and we have a good proven track record, especially in the project and portfolio management space. Also, in the areas of technology that we can help you with these services, project and portfolio management is central to what we do using the Microsoft project technologies and Project Online. We're also doing some things with professional services automation to extend project management to professional services organization using Microsoft Dynamics and Dynamics 365 and integrating that with traditional projects and PPM and Project Online. We also support folks in their moves to have their Agile segments integrated into the entire mix, leveraging tools like Visual Studio and be able to provide scaled Agile management that supports a PMO in a digital PMO fashion through an overall holistic portfolio. And then also, there's things we're doing in a lighter weight fashion, just in SharePoint alone. So the idea in the Microsoft platform, in the Microsoft cloud, where this is all available now, leveraging Power BI and analytics across it all, pretty strong case. And we have a rich history and a lot of successful track record making these things work for our customers. I would say in closing, as far as next steps go, we will offer a free assessment and roadmap for you on how you could possibly take your requirements in your landscape and really apply this technology and these approaches into your organization. So we're happy to spend some time with you on that basis, on a pre-sales basis, to understand what it would take to get you to some of the things you saw here today. And we can even support you with a free trial of Project Online and even some of our Connect technologies with a Wickersoft support and hand-holding you through that process and providing you with the guidance you need to get the most value out of that trial. If you like what you saw today on a high-level general basis and you want a personalized one-on-one demo for your organization, we're happy to schedule that with you as well. And also, if you like webinars and some of this content, we have a wide array of contents and topics, both on demand and with upcoming new webinars that we're doing. So if you go to wickersoft.com/webinars, you can actually register for upcoming webinars or view any of the existing on-demand webinars that we have available out there. If you'd like to contact us with specific questions, you can email us at NASales, which is for North America Sales, @wickersoft.com, or feel free to reach out to me directly if you have a question you think that I might be able to help you with uniquely. Otherwise, we can get you in touch with the person that handles your area to get you local representation. And with that, hopefully you saw some value and got some things, some ideas about the digital PMO and the challenges that are being faced and the fact that there's answers to those challenges today, and many of them reside in moving to the cloud. So thank you for your time today, and I hope you all have a great day.